Genesis 17:10-12 says, "This is my covenant which you shall keep between me and you, your descendants after you. Every male among you shall be circumcised, and you shall be circumcised in the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be the sign of the covenant between me and you. And every male among you who is 8 days old shall be circumcised throughout your generation. A servant who is born in the house, or a servant is bought with money from any foreigner who is not of your descendants." If you're joining us in reading through this 90-day reading plan, today's reading is Genesis 17:1 through 19:29. I encourage you to read that passage. No matter what anybody says, circumcision is an important act in the life of any Jewish male. In addition, circumcision was the cause for the first council that the church had, and because of that council, it has become standard to meet and discuss any point of theology or actions that might damage the church. The New Testament story takes place in Galatians chapter 2 and Acts chapter 15. Paul was at a town in Galatia, as was Peter, and when certain men of Jerusalem came to town, Peter separated himself from the Gentiles and only fellowshipped with Jewish believers. Paul chastised them and showed him that salvation comes from faith, not by being Jewish. And in Acts chapter 15, some Jewish men from Jerusalem came to the Antiochian church and began preaching that circumcision was required for a male to become a Christian. Their argument sounded so logical that even Barnabas was persuaded. It was decided that the problem was so divisive that it would require the other apostles' decisions, so they brought the argument to Jerusalem. After hearing the argument, James delivered the verdict. In Acts 15:28 and 29, James says that, "For it seemed good to the Holy Spirit and to us to lay upon you no greater burden than these essentials, that you abstain from things sacrificed from idols, and from blood, and from things strangled, and from fornication. If you keep yourselves free from such things, you will do well. Farewell." Gentiles who become believers do not have to become circumcised. Circumcision is not an act of salvation. Circumcision is an act for the Jew of a relationship. As believers of the Holy Spirit, to signify that relationship, we do not need to be circumcised.